This is avocado leaves, and I'm going to demonstrate how to paint the leaves in different positions. My inspiration and my guide was Ningye's Chinese brush painting and instructional guide, and I used the Camellia lesson, which was lesson 9, to show you how to do these. So my setup is ready. I've sprayed my colors, and I'm going to paint in color. I'm going to be using an ink cake for expediency. I'm using my small flow brush for demonstration, and I'll paint the leaf that looks on straight on first. Put these to the side. I'm using a basil leaf here. This is a Thai basil, and it's smaller. It's not an avocado, but the shape is similar, and it's got veining. It's got the center vein and sides, and the coloration is lighter on the back than on the front. So here's basil like this, using OAS large companion colors, and I'm blending my brush with 2 tones of green and loading a little bit of black. And I'm going to blend it off on my plate here. I'm using paper that's not very absorbent so that it slows my strokes down. And so you can see each individual movement. Okay. So when I paint a leaf that's die-cut, that's separated by a center vein, I like to paint the stem first and then do one side of the petal. Not the petal, the leaf. Okay, so with an almost upright brush, I hesitate, and then I pull my brush, and when I get to where I want to start my leaf, I turn that leaf like that, and with all the bristles down on the paper. And because it's a longer leaf, I'm going to pull a little bit harder before I lift up. There's the end. Okay. And if I had a larger brush with more bristles, then that would fill in this area, but I have my small flow brush, and we can make a highlight, or we can just paint it in afterwards. It's very similar to the elm leaf that we learned last week. Okay, I'm going to turn my brush so that I have a backstroke. If you are not comfortable doing this, you can turn your paper. Okay, up, press, follow that brush. We're calling this leading with the tip. Tip is darker, right? And lifting up, and there's my leaf. I'm going to come in with a fine line brush. You can use your small flow brush to make the veins. That would be great too. And I'm going to paint them a darker tone of green using a lot of black. And you can wait for it to dry a little bit. I'm just going to paint it in because I'm in a demo, right? So I follow that stem and I pull, and my brush strokes have already shown me where to start that center vein. Okay. And to make them rounded, just like the basil shows here. Round it out. And that's my forward facing avocado. And if you say, oh, you want it bigger or longer, you can come in and just make another stroke next to it to widen it a little bit or broaden it. Okay. Now I've placed the basil leaf, which is our model for the avocado. I put it on the side like this, and I've loaded my brush again with 2 tones of green. Dipped in the tip in black a little bit, start that stem. And from my viewpoint, I've noticed that it appears that the left side of the leaf is thinner than the right side. And that's Western perspective. So I'm going to paint it that way. Here, I'm going to press for that stem. When I get to where the leaf starts, I'm going to press hard, get that rounded, come up to a point. All right. There's that side. And then this side, I'm going to put narrower. So when I vein it, you can do this method too if you want to look like the leaf is curled and you've gotten the back side, right? If you do that, you want to make your second stroke with a lighter color, lighter tone. But in this case, we're going to have it just look like it's just turned to the side. Okay, so here's where my vein would be. And to help the viewer know that it's not turned, we're going to make the veins match up. Like that. Okay. Again, if I wanted to make this look like it's curled, I'm going to turn my leaf to show you like this. So that the back side is lighter than the front side. So come in and do the same thing with my stem. Stem, press, and lift. And see here, I left this spot. I created this curve here to bring in the underside of the leaf. And now I'm going to lighten up my colors by getting a little bit of yellow. And to help the viewer know that that's definitely the underside. Right? So it comes in like this. Press, follow that curve, and lift up like that. Now when I paint my veins, here's the center. I'm going to paint the vein here. Follow it there. Let the viewer know that this is still the inside. So match this up here. But when I get to the underside, you can see how that looks quite different. There. So here's the underside. Up, left. If we want to show a crumpled leaf, then we can just do an amorphous shape that has no particular geometric shape. And we can just come in like that. And there's our crumpled leaf. Right? And let that dry a little bit, and then we can vein it a bit. And you can also paint it in with a little bit of brown, because crumpled up, it's all dried up, right? I made it a pretty blue, but you can just add in some brown. You could even come in and paint some holes into it. Okay. So the last way I'm going to show you is the leaf that's bent like this. That's oftentimes we only see half of a leaf, and we might see a little bit from underneath too. So for that, I hope taping. So here, it's up to you which is easier for you. If it's easier for you to start your brush horizontal like this to get a wider stroke, and that would be here, this part of the leaf, this folded part, or if it's easier for you to start from the tip and then bring it horizontal, that's up to you. Okay. For me, it's probably easier to do it this way. So I'm going to do the right side. Press, move my brush, and as I come towards that tip, I'm going to be more straight up and down. There's my basil leaf. Right. Like that. Okay. Again, more side brush, press, and then let it stand up. And if you wanted to, you can get the little tiny bit of that back part showing through right here. And then the stem would be here. That's the stem because it's turned, right? Here's our vein. Center vein. And the underside, the veins would go in the opposite direction. Okay. There we are. Thanks for watching.